Guys, I want you to type in the chat or unmute yourself and say something. What did you guys learn on Tuesday? I wasn't on the call, just so you know. So I just want to know what you learned, not on Wednesday, on Tuesday. It was with Sam.
I see David.
Yes, David.
Raise the hand.
Mic check, mic check.
Yes, David, you can hear.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I think on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, we learned many things about how the internet works and everything about URI, URL. We learned about DNS. So it was about how internet works, how the meaning of network, all these kind of things. I think that's what I remember about Tuesday.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, with just a few words, who can describe how the internet works, just in a few words? I want someone to unmute and tell us what they remember about how the internet, how the internet works. So when you type, for example, google.com in a browser, what happens? Someone who's not David. All right, Ange Pauline.
Okay, thank you for what I remember that what have did on Tuesday. When you type, for example, google.com, that means you made a request to server, because you who are typing, you act like a client. So when you type google.com, you request to the server, and then the server will respond to you as a client. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So that's spot on. What we're going to be doing today is to make what the server returns. Meaning we're going to be making a website or a web page that the server will be returning when someone makes a request. So let me share my screen real quick. All right. Okay. Did you guys install any text editor last time?
Yes.
Yes,
which one did you install?
VS Code.
Yes.
VS Code. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do right now is to open VS Code. You can use okay, so you can use your terminal to do that, or you can just open it from the command. So if you have like a folder that you want to work with today, you're going to, so I want you guys to follow along, because it's going to be important for you to understand if you try out things that we're going to be trying out here on the code. So what I want you to do is to navigate to a particular folder, let's say desktop. For me, I'm going to be working with desktop. And this is what I have. Right. Open. Okay, so what we're going to do with VS Code, we're going to create a new folder, and to do that, we're going to just file open, and then we're going to choose a particular folder that we want to work with. So I'm going to choose desktop, and on desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. So this might differ if you're using Windows, but it's pretty much the same process. So let's call it
Project.
I was going to call it website. So once you do that, we're going to click open, and it's going to open, empty, but it's going to open in VS Code like this. And this is what we're going to be working with. Okay, so what I want you to have open is your VS Code and your browser. If you have Chrome or Firefox, you can open either. And this is what we're going to be working with. All right. So as probably mentioned by some, the way we make websites is basically by using three main technologies. One is HTML, another one is CSS, another one is JavaScript. And I don't know if we have people on the call who have heard of any of the three. I want to hear from you guys. What do you know about HTML? Oh, okay. We have a few people. Kelly, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Mm.
HTML is like a structure of a web page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. Structure.
All right, structure. Bertrand. Bertrand, can you tell us?
I think
Okay.
is to develop or to build the web pages.
All right, building web pages. But I think structure is actually very specific, because HTML is basically used to create the structure of a page that you see. So if I write google.com, for example, here, HTML is not centering this form input right here. HTML is defining that, this is going to be a form input. This is going to be a button. This is going to be a button. And this is going to be text. And this is going to be maybe a logo image or something like that. Okay, so that's what HTML is doing. And CSS, on the other hand, is defining how this background looks like. It's also defining that, this input is going to be in the center. It's going to be maybe horizontally and vertically aligned, this whole area. And it's defining that we have a menu here, with a few links and maybe a profile picture, right? So that's the work of CSS. And JavaScript, on the other hand, is adding more interactivity. Let's say, for example, we have HTML. What's happening with my keyboard. Right, so for example, these suggestions are being maybe injected by some sort of JavaScript, because we just wrote only HTML, and CSS is there to make maybe like these suggestions, for example, or making these, if I click here, maybe making this go away. This interactivity is being injected somehow by JavaScript. That's an example of maybe the whole spectrum of the difference between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in terms of what they do for us. right? So this is getting in the way. Okay, so for right now, what we're going to be doing is to use this code editor and learn about a few things, in HTML, the basics, the fundamentals, things that we need to be, to
Sorry.
keep in mind.
I think I didn't get it.
You said?
I said I missed what you said about JavaScript, what it does in a web page.
Oh, I said that JavaScript add interactivity on our website, right? For example, if maybe you wanted to add some, add some, for example, the suggestions that you saw, they might be being injected by some kind of JavaScript in the background, right? We write HTML and we see suggestions being popped down here. That's some kind of JavaScript that's doing that, right? So HTML is for structure, CSS is for styling and the looks, and JavaScript is for interactivity, right? But today we're going to be looking at the first two parts. JavaScript will come in the last week, I think, and in the third week, right? So the things we're going to be needing today. Did you raise hand? Do you want to say something?
Yeah. I wanted to inform the audience, if you don't have any editor, right? So I shared the link, codepen.io/pen/. You can go there and start coding along. All right.
Yeah. It's called codepen.io. So this is where you go, and I think you just have to sign up or log in. You can just use your GitHub account. I'm hoping that you guys created GitHub accounts on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Mic check.
Check.
Hello.
Yes,
Check.
we can hear you.
Yes. Can you maybe help us? Here you're talking about VS Code. Then there's GitHub, and then there's this this third one. I thought this code editor would use it to be working with the VS Code to be practicing coding. And how about what's Codepen?
All right, so Codepen is this that I have here on the screen. Let me maybe.
Yes, yeah, I'm saying what is it for?
So Codepen is if you don't have VS Code downloaded, you can come here on Codepen, log in, and then come here and on your profile.
It's online.
Yes, it's online, and then create a new pen. So when you create a new pen, it's going to open these
HTML, CSS, and CSS.
Yes, and then you can code from here, right?
Okay.
And then you'll be seeing your results down here, or you can even put it on the side. It's just for you to allow you to work without downloading anything, right? So that you can follow along. All right.
Okay.
Cool. But
does it mean that VS Code you can use it even offline, or you have to have connection?
No, Codepen is only online, but VS Code is offline.
Okay.
All right. So basically, what we're going to be doing today is, creating a website. But what do you do when you want to create a web page? First of all, you're going to think about, how do you structure your files? But we don't even know the files that we need to create. So let's start at the beginning. We're going to be creating a file called index.html. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so we're going to create a file called.
Okay, just a confirmation. Do we all have VS Code at least? If not, have you access to Codepen, okay, so that we follow along, all right?
Yeah.
So if you have any challenge, please use the chat, all right, so I can assist you. Please continue to do.
All right, thank you, Bernard. Yeah, so first of all, what we're going to be doing, to tell VS Code that this is going to be, some HTML business. This file is HTML when it has HTML as the file extension. So this is the file name, and this is the file extension, all right? And when we press enter, then we create that file. We could create different more HTML files like so. If you want to create, for example, a contact page, we will do something like contact.html. All right. Bernard, if there's any questions that pop in the chat, please stop me and I'll answer them. Right. So this is how we create our HTML files. And let's say, for example, we have another page called about. We'll have something like about.html. Okay. So these are all HTML files, but how do we render them? How do we run them in a browser like this? Okay. So what we can do right now is, if we have VS Code, we can come here and install something, a plugin called Live Server. This one right here. Live Server will allow us to run this page in the browser, and it's going to be, let me show you. So you're going to have to install it. You're going to have the install button. For me, it's installed, but for you, you're going to have to install it. So once you're done installing it, and you have, I think you have to maybe reload. So what you're going to have is, if you right click on any HTML file, you're going to have something called Open with Live Server. Okay, but even if you don't have, maybe if you have trouble running this, basically what you would do in the old days before Live Server, you'd have to review in in your file explorer. And yeah, so if we take this one and we put it in here in Chrome like so, it's going to be running as well. Let me show you that this is true. First of all, when we're going to create a web page, the first thing that we do is to give it a structure, right? The way it's structured, we start by telling a browser, because browsers are the ones that run web pages like this. Okay, so I'm assuming that people are either installing Live Server, because I'm going to start, and I'm going to run this page with both Live Server and by just running it in using just a file drop in the browser, and you see the difference. Okay, but first of all, how do we add content on this page? Okay, so first of all, we're going to have to tell a browser that this document that we're trying to run is HTML file, right? Usually when you type in VS Code, it's going to give you suggestions, but this is how you write the doc type. This is a special thing in HTML. You need to write something called doc type, like so. Then you're going to write HTML to tell the browser that this is going to be an HTML document, right? And then I don't want this.
I have a question, sir. I have two questions so far. That goes. One is that is it compulsory or something recommendable to make the home page index
Okay.
Can name it
I'll
index.
let me. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll answer that later after I run this file. Okay. Remind me if I don't answer it, but it's not. Okay. First of all,
Okay.
it's a good practice, but if you don't make it index, you can also the website will also run. But making it index, I'll show you why we, it's a good practice to make it index.html. All right. So this is the first step. We write this. This is the first line in any HTML file, and the second line. These are usually called tags, HTML tags. Okay. So a tag, basically, we'll write something like HTML. No, what's up with my keyboard? Give me a sec. Keyboard is not cooperating. Let me try to use another one. Okay, can you still see this screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So first of all, the first HTML tag that you're going to write. So this is to tell the browser that this is an HTML page, and you're going to write the HTML tag. So basically, a tag will be made of, okay, so this is an opening tag, and this is a closing tag. So you open them, by these signs, and then you write the HTML, the tag name, and then you close it by, starting the next one with a /. Okay, so this is to tell that, okay, this is where our HTML is going to live inside of this tag right here. Okay, so if you come here and write something inside, anything that's going to go inside is going to be rendered as part of the HTML document. Okay, so what goes inside now is we're going to start with only two, and then we're going to start to render some content on the page. So first of all, we're going to have something called the head. The head is going to hold the head tag. Again, is going to have an opening and closing tag. So this is a whole HTML element, and what goes in here is some metadata about some information about the web page. Okay, so let me and something that's going to happen is if you write if you write this, it's going to be ignored by HTML, and you can write anything here. So we're going to write some metadata. And what's up with my keyboard? My keyboard is messing with me right now. Okay, so we're going to write some metadata in here. So things like title, external files that we need to render on the page, things like that. Maybe external fonts, things like that. We're going to see some examples of that. And this is number one. Number two is going to be the body, right? These are the things that you don't want the users to see on the page, right? And inside the body, this is where we're going to be writing our content, our page content. All right, so body, and we're going to be opening and closing it. So inside here, anything you write is going to be rendered on the page. So these are the things that we see. HTML page content or HTML content. All right, so this is where everything goes. So if you go back to our page right here, there's still nothing. But if you right click and inspect, people on Codepen, I don't think they can inspect in this way, but people who have their browsers open, they can already see that we have HTML and we have the head and the body tag, right? If you open them, if you expand them, there's nothing inside, right? So to put something inside, we're going to have to write something as well. So if you write some text on here, let's say hello, right? We're going to write some text on here, and if we refresh, we're going to see our text right there, okay? And it's just some text. Yes?
Yeah, I think they can also inspect. Yeah, it's possible. But it's going to look a bit different, but they can still.
Yeah, it's Amazon. It's not the same way. Yeah, I think it's there's a console right here. Let me see. Okay, I'll give an example on Codepen in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So basically, this is what we have. We have a hello in here, and it's rendered on the page right there. Okay, and this is usually not how we do write our HTML. Our HTML is basically comprised of text and images, and some media basically. So audio, video, and all of that, and then a bunch of colors to make everything look good. Okay, so when we write text, we don't write text like this, or like, I don't know if this keyboard is going to let me. All right, so we're going to write, for example, we're not going to write text like this, in the normal circumstances. Okay, if you come here, there's nothing. This is because we need to reload. Okay, we're not going to write text like this. This is not how we do it. So if you want to have, for example, a title, in HTML we have what we call heading tags. These heading tags are going to be what we use for titles. So to write the heading tags, we write H, and then they go from 1 to 6. All right. So the heading 1 is going to be the biggest, and we can say big title. And if we load the page again, if we reload the page, it's going to be a big title, as you said, right? And because we don't want to keep reloading here, we're going to need to, let me close this inspector. We're going to need to start using live server. By now, I think most of us must have live server installed. So what we're going to be doing is right click on this index.html and open with live server, right? So once we open it, it's going to look the same, but it's going to look the same. But this is not the same because if we, for example, write an H2 is going to be heading 2. This is like heading 2 in Google Documents or Microsoft Office Word, right? It's going to be another title, but a smaller title, right? Up to 6, which is the smallest in the headings. Okay, so once we save this and we go back here, there's no H2, but if you look at this, there's some auto reload. It's going to be updating based on what we have in our local file, right? But for here, we're going to have to reload. So let's close this out because this is not helping us as much. And by default, if you run this without even the file name index.html, it's going to load that file which is index.html, which answers our friend who was asking, do we need to have, it as index.html? Let's call it maybe home. Oh my God, this keyboard is going to give me a hard time today. Right, so home.html. So what we'll need to do is, there's nothing. If you open this, it's only going to be, if for example, this is mimicking a server, and on a server you have a bunch of files, right? This is what we have in the server. For us to be able to run that home.html, we're going to have to write /home /home.html. Oh my
Mike, check it out.
Yes.
I think some of the folks here haven't installed those extensions like Live Server all right?
Oh,
so if you can
okay.
show them how to quickly install it.
All right.
VS Code, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, so for us to be able to see this, we're going to have to write the whole file name, which is home.html. Okay, and then we'll be able to see it. But if it's index, you saw that we'll be able to run index even without the name right here, right? We'll be able to, the server will run index by default, okay? So if you make it index again, and we refresh, it's going to be running the index.html file, which is usually the entry file. This is why you find, all of the websites start with, have some index.html file, which is going to be the entry point for your HTML project. Okay, so I think, I hope our friend is answered. But for you to get live server, you're going to have VS Code, and you there's a on the side here, there's where you have your files, okay, and then down the search, and below that there's an icon which looks like this. This is to install extensions, and then in the search, in extensions, you write live server, like so. Then you press enter. This is going to open. Once you click on it, you're going to see this screen. Let me. Oh, it's already running. Okay, so you're going to see an install button for you, something like this. Okay, you're going to click on install, and then once you click on install, something like a button like this, it's going to take like a few seconds, and then it's going to install. Once it installs, you are able to run your files. Okay, if it tells you to reload, you can click on reload. What do you mean, Bertrand?
Yeah, what I can comment on that, Bertrand, different people have different configurations. It's because of different extensions he has installed. But as of now, we could focus on getting the HTML content. As long as you can type, get the result, it's okay. All right. So it's because he has installed different extensions, and the point here I want to focus on HTML, right? So I think after the session he can go over the the configuration he has put in, so you can have similar VS Code.
All right, thanks, Bernard. So I'm going to be to also show you another way to run this file. Once you have an HTML file and you have live server installed, you're going to see something that says go live. This is going to run this file, this open file with live server. If you click on this, it's going to be opening it with live server as well. Okay, and this is going to be what we're going to be using for the rest of the time. Okay. Bernard, again, let me know if there's any urgent questions in the chat. Okay, right. So basically we can go, with more titles. Third.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I want to know the difference to run the program or my file on with server or not on server. I don't catch the difference between to run like a simple we learn like on web only without server. The difference between to run on server and to run simply.
Okay. So the difference is that with when you open it, with a file like this, you're not going to get the benefits of you're going to have to refresh the page, right, so that the content is updated. Okay. So for example, if you have a third degree title and we save it, if you come here, there's no, we only have third, but for here we have third degree title. Okay. But if you refresh here, it's going to update the content. So this is for faster development. If you want to develop your page faster, you have to have that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let me add, you can go up to heading 6. So heading, oh my God, my keyboard is messing with me. Heading 4, you can go heading 5, and let's also do heading 6. All right. So once you save, you'll see that we have all the headings right here. You can see how heading 6 looks like, but you can also see that heading 6 leaves some space. It has some default styling, by default that the browser is going to apply if it's a heading 6. Okay. So these tags, when we have text like this, the browser knows it's text, but it doesn't have a context of what kind of text this is. Okay, so this is why we add check.
Yeah, for me, I came somehow late. I would like to ask where I would like to ask the root directory. Where are we supposed to save our work?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can put it on desktop or downloads or whatever, wherever you want to save it. Okay, as long as you have your folder and you are inside of that folder and you open that folder in VS Code. That's all that matters. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So this is how we do it. So the browser knows this is text. This is why it's rendering this text, but it doesn't have an idea of what this text is. So wrapping, this text around particular tags, which are going to be, for example, in our case, going to be our heading 1 through heading 6. It's going to know that, oh, this is a heading 4, and should style it like this, and it's going to render differently than other text. Okay, if you wrapped this whole text in, for example, heading 1, it's going to take the same style as this one right here, and you're going to see that it's going to be bigger. Okay, this is why we're wrapping our text. Even if it's still text, it's going to be it's going to have like a different meaning compared to what it usually has as just bare text, okay, without any kind of meaning to it. Okay, so if we add this heading 1 around this text and we run it, you're going to see that it's going to have the same style applied as this big one right here. Okay, so this is not what we want to do right now. And another type of text that we can have is a paragraph. Okay, so if we have like a paragraph like this, which is kind of what we are looking at, this is a paragraph. the way we see it. So let's tell the browser that this is a paragraph. If you save it, it's a p tag. A p tag means a paragraph tag, and it's going to look like it was before, but it's going to have some meaning to it. And if you inspect, we're going to see that it's going to come in as a paragraph, right? A p tag is a paragraph tag, and it has this text. Okay, right. So another type of text that we can have is, let's say, for example, if you have a list of items, okay? If you have a list of items, we're going to have something called list, right? We have two types of list. One is called an ordered list. An ordered list. Let me write ID 3. List. And another list is going to go under a tag called UL, U standing for unordered, and then L for list. And inside of this, we're going to have list items, LIs. Okay, list items are going to be, the items that we have, in the list. So let's say item 1, and say item 2, and maybe item 3, right? They're LI tags. And if we come here, we're going to see that we have our headings, but we have also our another list. Okay. Please mute yourself, Muhaza John. Yeah, so that we can all follow along. Yeah, so an ordered list like so. And another type of list is OL. These are going to be our ordered lists. Yes. Ordered list. This one is going to, instead of being UL, is going to be OL. Okay. And then we're going to have list items as well. Item item 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So once we go back here, it's going to be ordered in terms of, this is going to have like a bullet, a circle right here in the front. But if the order of, if you want to highlight the order of items, we're going to, ordered lists are going to have 1, 2, 3. If you keep going, the numbers are going to be incrementing, but we don't have 1 before, in front of this, right? It's just because it's ordered list, so it has numbers. Okay, and yeah, that's another type of text that we can have, right? And another type of elements, text elements that we can have apart from these are going to be, if say for example we have, we want hello to be bold by default. We can do that with an HTML tag, and we can do, let's say, a paragraph tag. But inside of the paragraph tag, we want, a text to be bold. We're going to have to write a tag which is called strong. Okay, so if you do strong, say strong. Oh my God, my keyboard is messing with me. Bernard, okay. I was going to say, let me restart my laptop, but it's okay. Let me, strong text. Okay. Strong text, and it's going to be bold. Okay. And yeah, if we write the rest of the p tag as normal tags, strong text, and it's going to slow us down. So strong. This is going to be like this. You see the difference between the two. There's the strong text and the not so strong text. Okay. This is another type of text that we can have. Right. Another one that we can have inside of this p tag is some what we call the emphasized text, right? The emphasis. So the emphasis is going to be M. The M tag, M stands for emphasis. Emphasis means something is emphasized. So this is going to make it italic. So let's see text. Yeah, this emphasized text is going to be italic instead of the normal text, which is standing up, standing tall, or the strong text, right? But if you want this emphasized text to be, bold as well, what we can do is we can wrap this emphasized text into the strong tag, and it's going to change the way this looks like. If you wrap them inside of those tags, it's going to be looking like this. It's going to be italic, but it's also going to be bold, right? So usually back in the days before HTML5, we used to have the bold tag, the B tag, and the I tag. I don't know if they still work. Let me see if they still work. Yes, they still work, but it's not recommended to use them. And the I tag, which is it stands for italic. So they are still, you see, it's still the same, right? But there has to be a separation between the structure of a web page and the presentation of a web page. Okay, so this is why we use strong and emphasis, because emphasis can mean that maybe we need to add maybe a different color, or we need to maybe use a different font for strong text. So this is why for HTML we use strong and emphasis, not bold and italic, because all emphasized text is not just going to be italic, or all strong text is not going to be just bold. Maybe it's a different font that we want to use, so we use strong and emphasis. If you guys have questions, you can let me know. But for now, this is what I can tell you guys about the paragraph and the text, and changing text. Yeah. So before we close off for text elements, we're going to let's, for example, have this. As you can see here, this is going going across and down. But what we can also have is, what if it goes all the way? Maybe we want to cut this text and to start on a new line. What we can do in here is to find that place, and what we're going to be doing is to add another tag, which is called a break tag. So a break tag is going to be looking like this. So these are tags that don't have, they're empty. They don't have anything in them, inside of them. Just like maybe a p tag has an opening and a closing tag. These are called self-closing tags as well. So we do, no, it's b tag, not p tag. Right? So this b is going to be leaving a line break. This is called a break tag or a line break, what it's going to do is to, all right, so if you add to, it's going to be, no, it's not B, it's BR, sorry. Yeah, so BR is going to be, leaving the space between, this portion and this portion. And if you add two, we're going to see that is going to be adding 2 line breaks, and you're going to see some space in here. So don't overuse it. If you want to leave, some padding between 2 texts, you can do that using CSS. But if you end up with something like this, just to leave some space between text, this is going to be awful, and people are not going to want to work with you if you space text like this with break tags. Okay, so maybe if it's, for example, for a big title, you can do that with a big title. For example, let's say if you have small title but very, very long. Okay, maybe you want but very, very long to be on the second line, right? Like so. So you can do it with a break tag. You can write with a /. Sorry, it's not. It's like so. So BR. But you can also, let me show you. So smaller title but very, very long. Okay. So this is a common use case when you have like title, but you want it to there's space here, but you want it to start on a new line. You can use that, but don't overuse it and do something like that. That is not going to be so nice. Okay, so this is called the break tag. There's also another one called a horizontal rule. So it's going to be called HR tag. Okay, so this HR is going to leave a line like this, a horizontal rule or a horizontal line. Okay, so this HR tag, or even a BR tag, you can remove the /, but oops. Yeah, you can remove the / in the front, and it's going to still work the same. But this is auto-completing for me. Yeah. Yeah, but okay, it has like autocomplete for me, but you see the difference. So basically, what you will be doing with CSS is to style this horizontal rule. It's going to be much different, to look different, by giving it maybe the width. What's the size of this? Is it going to end here? Is it going to end in the center? Going to end at the end? Okay, but this is only for creating the structure. If there's a structure, then CSS will do the rest of the styling for you. Okay, this is just to make the structure of your web page. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for text elements and empty HTML elements. The next elements that we're going to be looking at before we move to CSS is going to be some media, for example. It's going to we're going to work with links and images. We're not going to go into video and audio. That's maybe a research that you can do on the side, but it's going to also be not very hard. I don't have audio or video prepared for you guys, but what we can have is some images. So, okay, let me start with the links. So to create links, you're going to have to, they're called anchor tags, write A, like so. And A is also a self-closing tag. So if you write A like this, and you're going to, sorry, it's not a self-closing tag. It takes things called attributes. Sorry, if you have a link, it's going to say, let's say, for example, link. Let's call it a link, and let's remove href for now. So if you write A, and we look at we'll look at our text. Let me put it in the main at the top. So that is visible. Okay. Let me put it under H3, call it links. Right. So if you come back here and look at links, there's nothing, right? As I told you that this tells HTML what the element is, what the text is. It gives meaning to the text. So the meaning of this text is going to be this is going to be an anchor tag, but it's not an anchor tag yet. It doesn't look like a link. But what we need to have is we're going to have to add this href attribute. These things, this is the first time we've used an attribute. This attribute is going to be adding more meaning, like functionality, to this particular text. Okay, so this is going to say, okay, this is a link, and it's going to maybe go on Google. Oh my God. Okay, so google.com, for example. Okay, so if we save this and we go back, it's going to now look like a link. This is the href, the attribute, now giving it functionality. A means that the A tag means that this is a link, and A makes this text able to take in some attribute, which is a link where we're going to go. Okay, so if we go back here and we click on this, it's going to be up. Okay, it's not going to open it. It needs to be google.com. It needs to have like HTTP. Needs to have HTTPS / I don't know if that's correct, or if the slash go before that. Then okay, if you go back, refresh, and we click on this, it's going to go on https google.com. Okay, but if you want it to open in a new tab, we're going to have to do something a little bit different. We're going to add something called a target, another attribute called target. This target, we're going to say blank. If we say blank, it's going to open in a new tab, right? If we reload this, okay, it's already reloaded, but now it's going to open in a new tab. Okay, so this is how we create a link. Okay, and we can also link inside of the document. Okay, let's say if we have, for example, say H3, H3, if it has, maybe we'll see this later. If it has, something called ID, you can say list. If you want to, maybe let's make this list a bit longer so that it goes down. Okay, and if we come here on this link, okay, this one goes to Google and this one goes to list. Okay, but this one we're going to have to write hashtag list, and it's going to link to the same page. Okay, so if you click on list, okay, let's remove blank from here because it's not going to open in a new tab. We want it to open in the same, on the same page. Okay, so let's do that. So if you click on list, it's going to go down on the list that we want. Okay, where we pointed it. Okay, but this is going to be coming, much further. It's going to be of use if you want to link. If you maybe have a page where we want to link a particular section to, of a page, or for example, if you want to open this and have it scroll all the way down to a particular point, a particular section of the page, right? If you close this and you open it, it's not open, but if you press this link, my keyboard is missing Oh, you guys are not able to see my screen. Let me share again. Can you guys see Google Chrome again?
Yes.
Check. All right, so if we close this, we open a new tab right here and we paste this particular link with that identifier. It's like we want to load this section of the page. It's going to load the page, but it's going to go directly on that. Okay, so this is why we can also link this link to a particular section. Okay, so maybe that's more advanced. We're going to have to first work with what we have right here. So another thing that we're going to have to do is to learn about images. Let's create another section, call it images. I'll give you guys some time to ask questions, but for now, let's, because I want us to quickly look at CSS and how to organize our files, and then you know, we'll take some questions after that. Okay, so for images, we're going to have to first bring in some images. Okay, and later on, we're going to learn where to find images on the internet. But for now, let me find a few images here. Okay. All right. Let me put them here. So encode it by the pin. So it's update and call this timer, and then call this present. Okay, so we're going to have some, okay, so something that we can also do before we go to the images, for the links, we can also link to other HTML documents, just so about and contact. If you want to maybe link to contact, and we want to link to about, contact and about. So what we can do is to link it to about, contact.html, and we're going to link to about.html. Okay, so what this is going to do is going to link to these pages. But for now, let's add some, a bit of content. This is called maybe about, and in the body we're going to have a heading one that says about. Okay, and maybe an anchor tag that goes back home. Okay, so let's copy this in contact and right, no, contacts and h1. This is contact and an anchor tag, which is a link, which is going to go to the /2/. So what we'll have right now is, if you go back on the links, we're going to have the about page. Okay. There's no text. Okay, let's say home, and let's say home. Okay, so a link, you can see that a link tag needs the text to show something. You can use text or an image or anything that you want to use, but this is going to be taking us back home. If you go to contact, it's going to also go to another page, and then you can go back home like so. Okay, so those are like the main use cases for links. Okay, so now let's go to images. Okay, so but for now, before attacking images, we can show them like this. The image tag is called img, and inside of image, we're going to have, this is obviously a self-closing tag. We're going to have the alt text. The alt text is basically the alternative. Like if the file is not maybe found, or the internet is bad and the file is not able to load, this is what we're going to be showing. Let's say frozen. This keyboard. Okay, frozen icon, right? If we save that, we're going to see, the broken image, thing that we usually see when you don't have internet, and then frozen icon. Okay, this is where the text is coming from. Okay, but if we have, frozen.png in here in the source, src is another attribute, just like we saw href and target. Alt is another attribute which shows the text for the image, but the text doesn't show if the source is correct, like this. So the frozen icon is going to come on, and it's going to show, and the text is nowhere to be found because this image is loaded. Okay. All right. So we can do this for the rest of the icons. We can do maybe a pie and the timer, and you can say pie icon and timer icon. Okay, and these icons are going to show. And the reason they're different is because by default, the images load in their default file, the default aspect ratio. So if, for example, the file of these images, let's see how big they are. You can see that the image is 120 by 136 pixels. You can see that when I hover over it. Or you can also use this tool in Chrome. You can see if you click on this, it's called, you can select an element, and it will show some information about the element. Okay, and even if you hover over it as well, it will show you some, okay. So accessibility, there's an image, you can see image, the file size, the aspect ratio of the image is 128 by 154. This is what's going to load right here on the page. Okay, so just maybe this page is scaled. Let's zoom out and go to 100%. This is how it would look like, but I'm on a bigger screen, so I need to account for that. So I want you guys to see how it's going to look like on the page. Okay, so apart from that, this is just the images, but this is not how you would structure everything. Imagine if you had a whole website, you had like 100 images. You would not want to have things look like this. This is a mess. Okay, maybe you have some CSS as well. So what you need to do is to know how to organize your files inside of your project. Okay, so we have a project folder which is called website, but we can also have subfolders to organize ourselves. So we can say images. Okay, some people like to use images or img. This is what I like, but anyone can like whatever they want to like. And in to select this, you can use control, I guess. Control on Windows, command on Mac, and you select the files you want to move, and drag them and drop them in there, and select move, and all the images will be moved in there. But our images will be broken because the reference, the source, the link that we're giving it here is not right. Okay, and what we need to do is to add image and then frozen, right? Because we need to add, okay, the path to this image. We first need to go inside of image, and then py.png. This is where we can find them. and then image as well, and then timer.png. Right. If we save this, then can you please mute your mic? Then our images are back. Don't. Okay. Duncan Francis, please mute your mics. All right. Okay. So our images are back. So for example, this is only for images, but we can also do the same for our HTML pages. So if we have something like, you know, say pages, and yeah, we can put our, sorry, this is not a file, this should be a folder. So inside of here, to create a folder, you can right click and do new folder, or you can also click on this icon right here. This creates you a folder like this, or you can also do the same like this. Okay, this creates your file, new file, and then new folder. And this is just to refresh the Explorer. But what we can do is maybe create another folder, call it maybe pages. And inside of pages, you can add our pages like so, right? Like this, right? And if you go back to our links, they're not going to work because now they need to have a different link, let's say linkage. Okay, so pages/contact or pages/about.html. Now, what we can do if we click here now, oh sorry, it wasn't updated. Then can you please mute your mic? Okay, so now what we can do if you click, it's not going to pages. I don't know why. Let me refresh. Yeah, now it's going to work. If you go back, it's going to work as well. Okay, so for people who want more organization, what they can do is if you move this back here, and you know they write something like about. If you rename this to about, this keyboard, right? So if you rename this to about and we make this index.html, who can guess what's going to happen? We're going to have to okay, let me show you what's going to happen. So if you go to /about, right? If you go to /about like that, it's going to, oh la la, this is keyboard, right? It's going to load the about.html without having to write index.html. I mean, write about.html. Okay, so this is a neat way to, if you don't want your .html to be showing in the website, this is how you can organize your folders, your files and folders. So for here, you can just go to /about. Right, to /about. No. /about, and it's going to load, and let's do the same for contact. And Francis, can you please mute your mic? Francis Nyomugabo. Guys, let's mute our mics. We don't have much time, and we have a lot of things to learn. And you know, it's better if you do it that way. It's going to be easier. So we can create a new folder, call it contact, and you know, move this in there before we confuse it with index, and call this index.html as well. And then, you know, this is the root index.html. This is the home that we have. but we also have /contact, which is going to go inside of contact and load index.html there. And we're going to have about.html, about folder, which is going to load index.html inside of there. So for us right now, if you click on, let's refresh, make sure everything is on point. We're going to go to click on about, it's going to go on /about, we go back home and we click on contact, it's going to go on /contact and load whatever is in there. Right. I know this is a lot of information, but what we're also going to have is, since we were going to start CSS, look at a few things about CSS before we close. We're going to create another folder, call it styles. Some people like to call it style, other people like to call it styles, or other people like to call it CSS. Let me call it CSS, okay? So inside of CSS, this is where we're going to have our CSS file. CSS is basically, oh, I haven't shown, okay. I'll show you okay, let me first finish off HTML by adding a title to our page. So since we started, we've only seen, okay, right, saying, okay, we have it in contact, but we don't have it in index.html. So inside of the head tag, we're going to have to add something called title. The title tag is going to be our page title. So we're going to have website. Okay. So if you save that and we go back to home, it's going to say website instead of this one right here that was telling us about the server URL right there. Okay, so we're going to have a website. We can change this to anything you want, right? Anything we want, right? So if we change it to that, we're going to say anything we want in the title. Okay, there's much more that we can do with the head tag. Someone said in the chat that he doesn't understand the use of meta information about the metadata about the web page, but this is what it does. And what we can also do is maybe add a fav icon right here, but let's not do that as of now. So this is maybe part of what can be done. Fav icon. Let me give you an example. So you see for Codepen, we have this. This is a fav icon, okay? And for Google, google.com, you're going to see the Google logo as the fav icon. This is called the fav icon. For us, it's going to be the generic globe. That means that shows that it's a web page, it's the internet, but we don't have anything here. But we define that as here as well. Okay, so let's not go there for now. Another thing that we can define. Okay, let's not go there. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to do is inside of HTML. To tell it that it's going to be English, we can say language, lang, the attribute, and we're going to say EN. EN is going to stand for English. This is usually what you get when you create, this is the most basic HTML that you can create, okay? There's a lot that you can do in here. We're going to use the head tag as well to include some CSS on the page, okay? Some styles. But maybe before we do that, Bernard, I don't know if you've seen any quick questions that I can answer before I move to CSS. It's just the introductions. I'm going to give you resources for you to read and work on, and which are going to help you to learn about all these things, revise them, and be able to create pages on your own. Bernard, is there anything that we can address quickly before we move to CSS?
I guess none at the moment. But people, please unmute. Okay. Unmute if you have a specific question. But I guess I've addressed some here on the chat.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I just saw one, and that's awesome. Emmanuel, let's give only Emmanuel. You're unmuted.
Yes. I wanted to ask if I have an image on my computer, and then I want to link it to put it on my website. So I'm going to have to proceed this way, or this is for images that you find online, for example, on a website.
Okay, so this is actually images you have on your laptop. Okay, because what this is, let me do reveal in Finder and show you the project I have. So this is my project. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. This is my project. It's called a website, and inside of our website, I have these images. Okay, like they're right here. I can see them. Right in my folder, file explorer, whatever. Right? Yeah. So, and I have my index.html. I have my contact, HTML right here, and this is it. This is the things I have here, the images I have here. But for the images that are online, instead of pointing it to a folder in here because they are here, I can see them. We don't do this for images that are online. Let me show you an example. AMG. Okay, my keyboard doesn't want to work. Let's go, for example, on Splash images, for example. This is a good source of images that you can use on your website. It's called unsplash.com. Let's say, for example, we want this image right here. If you don't download it, we can also copy the image URL. Let me see. Okay, open image in a new tab. This is the URL of the image. Okay, we copy this URL right here and we put it inside of our image tag right here in the source. Okay, and then in the alt, we say unsplash. Okay, let's say this is like a picnic. All right, this keyboard is okay. Let's assume that this is a picnic. Okay, all right, nice back picnic. For example, right. So if we now go back to our browser and we go to our page, we're going to see our picnic image in all its glory. Okay. Right. So this is how you load images from the internet. Right? You put there the link to that image. Okay. In the source.
So another comment on that, I think you also wanted to ask. Let's say I want. It has something to do with the deployment. All right. Because he's going to have. He has these images on his local computer. Then you said the part which is missing is how can I access this website if I have a link to this website and share it with someone else? How are they going to be able to access it yet accessing the images on my local computer? If you talk about the deployment, maybe.
Yeah. So this is the same as your index.html. They're HTML files or the CSS files. They are still on your laptop. They are files on your local computer. To get them on the internet, that will be a part that will come sometime next week, where we'll be able to put all of these things that we have here on the internet, so that for everybody to access. And we're going to have a link. And the way you learned about the server on Tuesday, we're going to be putting all of these files in a server, and we're going to have a domain name that we can access, and that domain name is going to point to a particular server, and or IP address. I don't know if you guys went that deep, and that server is going to be returning all of these resources. And if you have an HTML with an image tag like this, that server is going to contact this other server to give it this image. Okay, so don't worry about getting your images online. We'll learn about all of that in the deployment section of this program. I think during next week or third week. All right. Cool. So let's learn some CSS in 20 minutes and see how much we can cover. And I'll give you guys resources to learn more and be able to implement some of the things that we're going to be seeing. Okay. So first of all, how do we create CSS files? It's just the same thing. Create a new file, call it maybe main.css. It's going to be a CSS file, right? So anything you write here is going to be automatically be some styles, okay? So first of all, CSS means, I didn't even tell, who can tell us what HTML stands for?
Mic check.
Check, Kevin.
Yes, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language.
Awesome, on point. Hypertext markup language. So it's called a markup language because all of this structure is called markup. Okay. Another language that can do markup is something called Markdown. Okay. So let me show you guys. If you write, say read me.md, MD will stand for markup, and to write like an H1 in Markdown, we're going to write like title, something like that. We're going to use this hashtag. Okay, and H2 is going to be 2 hashtags, right? Yes, this might look easier. Heading, oops. This keyboard is not going to let us work today. Okay, so heading to, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is, and then to write a paragraph, you just write some text. Okay, let's say Lorem. If no, it's not going to work. Okay, so we're going to have some text. Okay, so this is to write a list. You use this item and item. Okay. So this is another way to write markup, but styling this might be hard, and this is not the language of the web. Browsers don't understand Markdown. Anyway, but we can do a preview, and just to show you guys that this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how Markdown looks like if you preview it. Okay, this is another way to write the markup, but for the web we use HTML. Okay, it's a markup language, right? There are other markup languages like one called YAML and others that you might come across during your development career, but then what we use for web is HTML. Usually these Markdown are used to write documentations, to write up some information about the website. Okay, let's say this is our first website. Okay, so this is what it's mainly used for. Yeah, let's stop there. Okay, so for CSS, yes.
Let me steal a few minutes from you.
Okay.
For the tutorials, please check the channel. Please check the channel. We'd like you to record some stuff there, some attendance. So please check the channel.
All right.
Thank you.
So tutorials, go check the channel. But for us, we're going to go on with our CSS. So we have our CSS file. It's called main.css. And what this means, CSS, let's see if we have someone who can tell us what it stands for. Hans, what does CSS mean?
CSS means in forward is cascading style sheet.
Okay, it's cascading style sheets, right? So what it means is that basically there's a cascade or a hierarchy of how the styles are applied to an HTML file, and maybe we might see some of that, and it's basically about the styles. How do we write the styles? Okay, the way we write styles, basically there's something called a CSS rule. A CSS rule is something that is made of a selector. A selector is something like, say, if you come back to our HTML, something like body, okay? If we take body and we come back here, let's maybe, you can use Control B to hide the Explorer, or Command B if you're on Mac. You can say body. Okay, so body, and then inside of body, we're going to write curly braces. Okay, all right, curly braces, and this body is the selector, and this right here is, say for example, if you wanted to change maybe the background of this page, okay, how would that work? Okay, so the way this would work, we're going to have something called a property. A property is going to be background color, for example. Okay, all right. So, and then the value of that property is going to be a color. And let's say, for example, let's say blanche. Okay, like this one, blanche diamond. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, so this is going to be maybe our color of the background. So maybe, okay, let me do a color which is more obvious than this. Maybe pale violet red. Right, there's nothing here. Why is that? It's because we don't have this file referenced here. The way we bring the styles in here is by adding a link to that file, telling HTML to bring in some styles for us. Okay, so the way we do it is we write, this keyboard is going to allow us. Oh la la. Guys, I apologize. Technical difficulties, they always happen, right? So basically what we're going to be writing is this link tag. This is also another meta tag that is going to bring in our HTML. No, it's not a meta tag, it's a link tag, of course. Yeah, so it's going to bring in some styles. It has an attribute, this link tag, and this one is it's saying that this is style sheets that we're bringing in, and this is the reference, like where we're going to be finding our CSS. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to write the folder, which is CSS, and then slash the name of the CSS file that we want to bring in, right? If we save this, if you go back, you already see that our background of the body, our body now has this red red color, something. Okay, this is how we bring in our styles. Okay, but maybe you don't want to do that to the body. Okay, maybe it's not okay. Maybe it's not the background color you want to deal with. Maybe it's the font size for the whole. This is called it's just like overall font size. What are we looking for? Maybe let's say it's maybe 20 pixels for the normal text. Okay, so our text now is going to be a bit bigger. Yeah, so this is for the base text. If you do something like 40 pixels, you're going to see that things are going to be much, much bigger than this, okay? But maybe this is not what we want to do with our body. Maybe we want to style specific elements on the page, okay? Maybe let's turn all H1s, right? This is a selector as well. And our CSS rule is going to have a property maybe of color. All our H1s are going to be a particular color. Let's say pale green. Okay, so all our H1s are going to be pale green. If you go back, if you look, let's try to find our H1s. Right, our H1 is now pale green. Okay, so this is how you can style elements, and this can be applied to maybe if you want all our headings to be pale green, maybe our heading 1s and heading 2s, we can also join 2 or 3.
Mic check, Dodo.
Check.
So this is Patrick. So please, trainees, try to rename yourself. I can see people with just only one name. So please try to rename yourself.
Yeah, like Rita, or let's see, like Duncan. Add your all of your name in the on Zoom. You can rename yourself. You have the rest too. Okay, and people who have like nicknames, also add your real names. Like, or people called like iPhone or XDGI. Let's have our real names on here. All right, so this is how you can couple many different selectors, and you give them one one color. Okay, let's say dark gray. Right, so now they're going to be dark gray like this. Okay, so that's probably number one. Number two is, let's say, for example, if you wanted to, maybe comment inside of our CSS, now it's going to be a bit different from HTML. For HTML, we have, some of these, but for CSS, we'll have, this is how we comment in HTML, / star, and then we write whatever, and then we close it with star and / this is ignored by CSS. Okay, so this line is not going to be considered as styles. Okay, everything else is going to maybe break your styles, right? Something like this is probably going to be breaking your styles, and okay, it's an error, and it shouldn't be rendering. If you're using, if you're being if you're being careful with your styles, this might break your site at some point, might break your styles. So you need to wrap whatever you want to say. If it's a comment, you add it by using this. And what's the next thing apart from color? Let's see. Okay, let's say, yeah, let's for example say, if you are, for example, on fonts, let's maybe add the font family. The font family is going to, be, how do these look like? This is called a serif font, and we want it to be a sans serif. A sans serif. Okay, you maybe you'll learn more about fonts later, and maybe the differences. But for a font family, you're going to have, I want sans serif. Sans serif. Yeah, so I want it to be sans serif, and it's going to look a bit different compared to the previous one. It doesn't have like those things that come down like this, or on the B, things that go up and down. Let me show you the difference. If I do this, you're going to see like on B, we have like these tails, on T's everywhere, on S's, but sans serif is another one that doesn't have these, and you know, for most of the web these days, people are using sans serif fonts, and you know, you can even find more fonts online, which we will maybe discuss next time. How do we get fonts from Google, right? From Google Fonts, right? So that's another one. So we have font size, font family. We have, let's finish font first. We have font weight. This keyboard. All right, font weight. Font weight is going to be a value from, you know, you can already see if you have VS Code, is going to help you a lot. You can already see the values that we can have. If you have, for example, 100 for everything that we have here. Let's see. Oops. Sorry. So if this font family supports, you know, if it supports like small, let me see. Yeah, if it supports the weight of 100, it's going to be looking like this. And usually you'll see this on, let's say, apple.com. You'll see them using, you know, smaller font weights. For example, like this is a bit smaller. And if, for example, for titles, we want the font weight to be different, font weight. This is for general body, but then for the rest, for the titles, H1s, H2s, and H3s, we're going to have maybe 600 as the font weight, and you're going to see that it's going to look a bit different. So for us, for normal text, we're going to have this smaller font weight, and for heading, for bigger headings, we're going to have a bigger font weight. Okay. What else for the font? Font size, font style. Yeah, font style. We're going to see, you know, is it bold? Is it italic? We can also manipulate that like so, right? So let's say, for example, if we put this on only titles, the font style, then we can see that only headings are italic. Only heading 1, 2, and 3 italic. If you add heading 4 in the mix, H4 and H5, we're going to see that, you know, H6 is only is the only one that doesn't have the font style. Okay, we can also make it, you know, we have like different values here. So if you want to learn more about anything, you know, about, for example, fonts, you can come here in Google and say, you can Google font MDN, right? Yeah, so you can, MDN is this great documentations about CSS. You can find anything that you want. So we will have like font family, font size, even like the ones, you know, that maybe we're not going to cover today, like line height, like things, you know, between this line, this text, and this, you know, what's the space between them. Okay, we can have something else called, maybe something called letter spacing as well. Letter spacing. If you go, it's basically like by default normal, but you can also, if you, for example, want to learn about letter spacing, how do you find out more things about letter spacing? You can come here and say letter spacing MDN. right? And it's going to bring you some letter spacing and different values, and it's going to show you this playground where you can play with the text and letter spacing. Please mute your mic, Robert. All right, so this is what we have as normal, but if you say, for example, we add more letter spacing, this is how it's going to look like. If it's 1 pixel, it's -1, you're going to see that things are going to be, more squished together. Okay, so we can, this is even a live editor. If you do -5 pixels, you're going to see things, crazy things like this. And you will see that if you maybe go, let's say -2M, for example, you're going to see things that are completely, bizarre, right? So you shouldn't be doing that. And yeah, letter spacing is another one. And you can learn about anything on MDN. You can even search MDN like so. You say, for example, let's say color. If you want to learn maybe about supported colors, you can see we have, the hexadecimals, we have RGB, we have HSL, HSLA, we have the word itself, and you can also scroll down and see maybe different values that you can have, and the names of the colors of things should be given out here. Okay, so the color values, let me see if we can have some of those. Yes, so the color values right here. So if you say, for example, there are different names that we can use, like deep sky blue, but it has these corresponding hex values. Okay, so you can see RGB X value right here, and you'll see even the name at the, in the front. Okay, there are crazy names here for colors. Let's say, for example, like this Rebecca Popo. It's yeah, crazy names for colors, but this is where you find them, right? Cool. Let's say we're not going to mess with letter spacing. Shouldn't mess with letter spacing because a lot. If you have like specific sizes, then that's okay. If you don't, then you shouldn't mess with them. Okay. So another thing that we're going to want to deal with is, for example, if you want to maybe let's keep lists. So basically, if you have things like lists, let me bring in, for example, a list. Let's inspect this. You're going to have some default styling for these elements. Let me say this another list. It's going to have this another list. This UL, this UL, right? So this another list is going to have some basic styling. Okay, so the basic styling here is the display, for example, the list style type. Have this. If you want to, for example, learn more about what's the list style type that we can have, types that we can have, we can come here in MDN list style type, and we can see different values that we can have. We can have, for example, square. Okay, so if we come here and come to our ULs, are going to have list style type. Instead of it being a disk, we're going to have it be a square. What we'll have now is something completely different. Instead of a circle, we have a square. Okay, so this is how you learn things. You can't always remember everything that you're going to be using, but you have to have an idea that this is possible to edit. You can even put an image right here, but or maybe if you have like a special icon that your designer made or that you designed, you can also put them there. But usually it's advised to stay on point. Don't overuse, like don't over design the list, for example. It's a good thing to stay on point. Okay. I see we are running out of time, but I wanted to talk about something called the box model before we close. And I'll give you resources where you can learn more about these things in CSS. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, let's say, let's come back here. Okay, so all these elements that we have here, you know, usually what we call a box. Everything is a box, basically. Let's think about that. Everything is a box, and the box model defines where the box is and maybe how it behaves. Okay, so H1s, H2s, P tags, ULs, they are all called block level elements. And what that means is that if you put, let's say, if you put, for example, let's take an example of one. And let's say, for example, let's remove all the styles for H1s. Let's deal with H1s. And I'll show you real quick what a box model is. And I say border, let me do them all at once. Let's say 3 pixels solid red. This is going to give us something like this. Okay, so this H1 is a box. This is the box of the H1. Okay, the box ends with no, that doesn't end with the body, it ends with the margin. Okay, let me show you the box of this H1. If I do inspect, guys, I'm going to have to steal a few minutes, less than 10, I promise, just so we talk about box model, and I'll leave you guys with the homework to learn how to create a layout. I'll give you resources, okay? So, but the box model, so that you understand, maybe, you know, if you want to, for example, make any layout, you need to manipulate the boxes, you know, of elements. So this H1, since it's what's called a block level element, you can see that, you know, display is blocked by default. And if you do, I know we can change, you know, the display here, but this comes by default as a block element, and you shouldn't change that because, you know, it's a title, it's a heading, okay? And if you look at, for example, a link, an A tag, an anchor tag, it's a display. Its display is basically inline, but maybe we can see that here, but it's usually inline because they are not taking its own box, okay? But if we make it display block, let me see if we can do that for anchor tags. Make them display block. You see that, you know, now they become, you know, they take their own block. Let me add the border around them. Border 3 pixels. Oops. Come on, keyboard. We don't have much time. 3 pixels. Let's say dashed. This is like the, you know, the border headers, the border. Okay, let's say dotted, right? And then let's say purple, right? So you see that our links are now boxes. Okay, they are blocked. They take the whole, like all of the available space, and they take the whole, you know, it's a horizontal, the horizontal area that is available to them. Okay, and you know, this is a behavior that we can change with this this property called display, right? But by default, this is how our links are going to look like. Okay, so
Before to move, what is the meaning of A you are putting in CSS?
Oh, A is just the link that we learned about, right? This A is a selector. You can select anything in HTML. If you can write it in HTML as a tag, you can select it in CSS as a tag as well. Okay, so this A right here is the same as H3. This is the same as image. Okay, for example, if you wanted to have this all the images be of the same size, okay, we could write a selector called img, and we can say maybe width is maybe 50%. Okay, and all the images would shrink down to be 50%, right? Okay. And if you wanted them to be like maybe the width to be like 100 pixels, to be 100 pixels wide, all of them, then it would make them 100 pixels wide. And this is how they would look like. Okay, so anything you can write in HTML, in HTML, you can select in CSS, even LIs. Okay, maybe we need LIs to be of color, maybe what, teal. Okay, so it needs to be that, blue greenish color. Everything will be teal. All LIs will be teal. Okay, this is how we select in CSS. Maybe you missed that.
Okay, now how about how we are going to get it? I see that you are using HTML5 in your terminal, but for us, VC code does not show HTML5. How will you get it?
What do you mean HTML5?
The terminal of your VS Code is different from what I have. It shows this one 5.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Here. This is nothing. This is nothing. This is just something. Okay, you can get them. They're called file icon theme. You can get anything you want. I'm using material icon theme. If I use minimal, they are just going to be like this. Okay, that's an example. Let me use this so that you see that they are still the same. Okay, so it's just file icon theme. If you have this one, it's going to be like this. If I have material, it's going to be showing me the kind of file these are.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can download this. It's called material file icon something. Okay, right. So basically, what makes a file HTML5 is this. All right, this makes it HTML5, not this. Right, and yeah, this is basically it. So for the box model, the box model is if you open your Chrome inspect tools, if you click on inspect, as I showed you, right click, inspect, and you click on this icon right here, this one, and you select an element, right? We selected this H1, okay? So this H1, we're going to see is selected here. We can select another one, maybe this H2, but let's work with this H1, okay? So this H1 is going to be our reference for the box model, okay? So this is a block element, which means that it goes all the way to the side, and links are by default inline elements, okay? We can also make this inline, which you shouldn't do. We can do that by saying all H1s, they're going to be display, display inline, okay? And what it's going to do is it's going to make this element not span the whole width that's available to it, okay? And we shouldn't do this for titles because they're just titles. They are supposed to be on their own line, okay? That's the difference, right? Any element can have a display of block, right? Cool. So for this H1, our H1, to see the box model, the box model is basically made of the content, which is this big title, right? And the padding, between the title and the border. Okay, so if we add some padding to this H1, right, the padding is the space between the content and the border. And if say padding is going to be 20, okay, let's say 30 pixels, right? The padding is these 30 pixels that are added on here. Okay, the padding. Okay, let me show you something. So let me reset all the paddings, and because by default, browsers are going to have their own styles, default style. For us, let's reset everything. We're going to, this is the universal selector in CSS. Star is called the wildcard. Okay, so we're going to set padding of everything to 0 and margin of everything to 0, right? Once you do that, we can now start to see that, you know, okay, everything doesn't have a padding and a margin. Okay, let me first remove everything. Let's see, it's messing with what I'm doing. I'm going to comment all of this, and I'm going to only remain with this big title of mine. And you can see that, you know, it's almost all the way to the top. Okay, let me add something. So the box model is made of 3 different things. First, it will be made of the content. Okay, let me write it in the README. The box model, this keyboard. The box model is made of the content itself. The content, in our case, is going to be the H1 text, right? The H1 text, right? And second thing is the padding. The padding is the 30 pixels, right, that we added. Okay, the 30 pixels, right? And the third thing is going to be the border, right? The border is the 3 pixels that we have, the red 3 pixels we have on around the H1 text, right? This right here, right? It could still be more if you want. It could be, this could be 5 pixels, right? 5 pixels, and you know, it will be a thicker border. Okay, so the third element, the fourth element is going to be something called a margin. So this is the space between the border and other elements or the edges of the screen, for example, right? It's going to be the margin, right? We don't have a margin around our H1, but let's add some margin. Our margin maybe is margin is 30 pixels as well, right? So if you look, our margin is going to be 30 pixels, but let's see, why don't we have, let's say, let's make it 100 pixels. Bernard, did you see why this H1 is not going down? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is this. Huh?
Okay. I was going
said?
to ask. Did I get your question?
Yeah, like this H1, why the margin is not, the margin top is not being applied on it.
Let's see.
Like this margin top is not being applied, but it's okay. So what I wanted to show is basically this, you know, the box model. Even if we had something like, if I had like a simple div, a simple div with, let's say, we can even style it, but let's give it a class. So a class is something that you can use also to select, just like we did. It's an attribute that we can add, just like we did this ID. So an ID in the class, something that you can use to also select. So let's say, let's call this a box, and let's remove this. Let's have this be like that, and then in our CSS, we can select that box and give it a width 100 pixels, and the height of 100 pixels, and then we can say a background color of salmon, right? We have a box here, okay? So now what we can do is, this is a box, okay? So because we're learning about the box model, let's add a border, right? If you add a border of, maybe 3 pixels, can you please mute? 3 pixels, maybe solid black. We'll see that this box will have it's too small. All right, so it's going to have a border of 3 pixels, and it's going to also have, let's say, a padding. A padding is going to be inside. You won't see it, but a padding is also is going to be part of what the box is. So if we say maybe other 50 pixels, it's going to be being a bit bigger because the content is going to go inside. Let me the content is going to go inside, and then the padding is going to go around the content. And then what we can now do is to add some margin. Let me see if it behaves differently. A margin of 100 pixels. Yeah, all right. So top. Oh, that's because yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, H1s are going to behave differently from basically in general, like text is going to be behaving somewhat differently, and we might explore that maybe next time. Tell you about more styles and how things are going to be being affected. But what I wanted you guys to know is this box model, we have the content, we have the padding around it, and then we have something called a border. If there's no border, then still everything is still going to be fine. If you don't have a border, it's fine. And the border doesn't affect the margin. Okay, so you can see the box model in this box model in here in the inspect section. If you add, if say for example, you select this element, right? You can see that we had removed the border. The border is not there, right? But if you add the border, for example, if you add the border back, right? Let's say now it's 5 pixels, right? You're going to see that there's a 5 pixels border, okay? There's a padding of 50, right? And the content is 100 pixels, right? And then the margin is 100 pixels all around, okay? This is what we call a box model. Yeah, all right. So basically, because this one is going to this one is going to be available for every element. Even if you go back to our H1, our friend here called H1, we're going to also see. Right, let me make this a bit smaller. Right. Yeah, so this H1 as well is going to have the box model, and you can you know, kind of like preview it in here. If you scroll down enough, you're going to see it. We're going to have the content itself, the padding around it, the border, and the margin, right? And this is what allows you to move things around. Say, for example, if if we wanted to center, for example, this div right here, we would, you know, consider something. Let's say, for example, if we were to do for this box, you know, top and bottom. Okay, so this represents, there's a lot that we need to cover, but I'm not going to take too much of your time. It's already like almost 20 minutes past the time that we gave ourselves. But since there's a lot more, let me try to do this for this div. If we do, so for margin, it's basically, this is a shorthand. Usually we would have something like margin top, and we'd have margin, margin left, no, margin right, and then margin bottom, and then margin left. This is clockwise. I don't know if it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? And then margin left, from top to right to bottom to left. This is clockwise, and this will still be the same thing, okay? But then, if we, can you stop annotating on the screen, please? Yeah, so if we were to do margin right, we make it auto, and we do margin left as auto as well. This should, and we make it the display block. Isn't it block already? Yeah, we make the display block. It's going to be centered, right? So this is like a neat trick to center a div, and this may come in handy, you know, to helping you understand, you know, maybe like centering and creating layouts. And since this big title is also, you know, a block element, you can also do the same for it, and it will probably work. So this shorthand, this means that top, bottom, left, and right 100 pixels. But we can also do maybe auto. Auto will do, this will be top and bottom, and then left and right, right? If you do this, and this is display block by default, we need to specify it. Let's hope it works this time. Display block. Okay, it's not working, but for the div it works. And there's a lot more ways to deal with centering. Since we don't have enough time to play with it and, you know, be more strict, let's. I'm going to be giving you a homework. Let me try. Let me find this. All right. So let me send, okay, let me open this here, but I'll also send it in the chat, and so that you guys can see it, and on Discord. Can someone send it on Discord in under resources? Oh, I have it open. Okay. So under resources, I'm going to send this. And what I want you guys to do is to come here and read. We have, you know, the basics, you know, links and images. We have CSS, we have the box model, and, you know, it's in much more details. You know, you see the same things happening. For example, yeah, so the content, the padding, the border, the margin. So we have a lot more. So if you like to read, please, even if you don't like to read, you should know these things. And you know, if you start at the beginning, yeah, so you should start at the beginning and read through all of this. If you want to learn about the box model, different CSS selectors, and it has more things, and you know, even more things that we'll be learning during the next sessions, like forms, responsiveness, you know, creating layouts with Flexbox, and yeah, different things that we'll be learning in the future. So I want you guys to go take a look at this, revise the things that we have, and I'll be sending you guys. Bernard, is there a session in the afternoon for introducing the challenges? How the challenges are?
Not sure.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, so let me see. All right. So we'll be communicating to you guys on Discord about you know, the first challenge. It's basically, let me see. I don't think the content we have already covers this. What we can do is maybe skip this for now. Maybe in the afternoon we can. Bernard, we'll be communicating to you guys because at 2 we're supposed to be looking at challenge 1, which is creating this. But since we still have enough time to, we still have a lot of things to cover, things like Flexbox, so that you can be able to create something like this. We'll maybe tell you guys, because you have tomorrow off. Tomorrow is we don't have sessions tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Yes.
I have a question. When you are fixing size, what is the difference to use pixel or percentage? I don't know how to use percentage by counting how it will look like using percentage or pixel.
Okay, so you usually you will have to first like it's not recommended to use percentages for font sizes. If you want to use like relative measurements, you can use something called ems, ems or rems, which I think you can find. Okay, so for example, that's an example. So if you want to learn about CSS units, you can say MDN CSS units. Okay, you can come here and see the difference between all the units that we have. Okay, so we have we have centimeters, we have millimeters, we have quarter millimeters, we have inches, we have picas. I never use that. We have points, and we have relative units. These are like absolute length units. Usually in web development, we use pixels, but relative units are like ems and rems, which are most used. And VW, this is the viewport width. VH, these are the 4 are the most used: VW, VH, ems, and rems. Okay.
Sorry. Like I'm creating a box. I want to use percentage. How may I count how it will look on page? Like to count, like 30%. To cover which space? Like that, I don't understand there. How?
Okay, it's usually 30% of the parent of that element.
Of the whole page of
No,
all
of the
page.
parent. For example, if you have something like this, if you have like a div with a wrapper, if this box is like 30%, it's going to be 30% of this wrapper. Okay, but for like if you have like a specific case, if you are trying to do it and you don't understand, you can prepare that question, because I don't want to go over 12:30. I've already taken much of the time. So go ahead and practice that. Use a Codepen, use VS Code to practice these things, and hopefully let's hope that we're going to be able to cover more of these and maybe create a layout with you guys. We're going to figure out what to do. If maybe we cover layouts in the afternoon, we're going to let you know on Discord.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Oh, cool. So let's I'm going to have to pause the call here, and if you have any questions, you can put them on Discord under HTML and CSS. If it's general HTML and CSS talk, if it's a bug you are an issue you are facing, you can post it in help.css, tag your TTL and your manager, and they'll be able we'll be able to help. But for now, let's pause the call and let's see. Yeah, let's we're going to pause the call, and we'll have probably another session in the afternoon, or we're going to see if we don't have any session tomorrow, we're going to have a session in the afternoon, which is most likely at 2 p.m. According to the calendar. And then after that, after the session in the afternoon, maybe we can create a layout together, and then see how you guys can see how maybe I approach creating a particular layout, which is finished using different techniques, and see how all these CSS rules are applied, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so for now, you guys have the resources. If you want something, want to learn about something, MDN is your go-to for learning anything that you want to learn about CSS and HTML. And we'll see you guys in the afternoon, I guess. We'll let you guys know shortly on Discord. All right, so go take a break. Get ready to implement all of these, building something, with all these things that we learned in the morning. All right, Bernard, do you have anything, or Brian? If you have anything maybe to announce or add, we can.
No, I don't.
All right, cool.
Magic.
Yes, Mike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is to every trainee. At least send a message in chat in the format. I'm typing the format: your TTL's name, then your name, so that there's some TTLs who are not around, so that will help with us tracking attendance. Please type your full name, not